Can you believe this is Elephant and Castle? If someone had shown you these views, say 10 or 15 years ago, you probably think that they were talking about a completely different part of London. You can see glass towers have replaced concrete estates, green spaces have replaced busy roads, and new cafes and restaurants are attracting visitors from across the capital. Today, the area has become one of London's biggest regeneration success stories. But what I want to say is, how did we get here? Hello everyone, and welcome back to Rav the Traveler. Today, we're going to spend some time exploring one of the most fascinating transformations anywhere in the city. We'll walk through the new developments, discover some hidden gems, visit fantastic restaurants, explore the area's rich history, and find out why Elephant and Castle has become one of South London's most exciting destinations. Whether you've been here before, or you remember the old shopping centre and the famous roundabout, I think you'll be surprised by how much this place has changed. So come with me guys, let's explore together. It makes perfect sense to start here because transport has always been the reason Elephant and Castle became so important. Every day, tens of thousands of people pass through this station. You've got the Northern Line, the Bakerloo Line, the National Rail Services, and one of London's busiest bus interchanges just in the area. From here, you can be at London Bridge in minutes. Waterloo is just up the line. Oxford Circus isn't far away either. That's one of the reasons developers looked at Elephant and Castle and saw enormous potential. The location has always been this area's biggest asset. For many Londoners, this area meant one thing: the shopping centre. If you ever came here in the 1980s, 1990s, or early 2000s, chances are you walked through those pink walls at least once. It wasn't glamorous. Nobody would ever have called it beautiful, but it had personality. Independent shops, market stalls, affordable cafes, and perhaps, most importantly, it became home to one of London's largest Latin American communities. Many Colombians, Ecuadorians, and other South American families built businesses here. The shopping center became far more than just somewhere to buy things. It became part of the community. When it finally closed in 2020, there was naturally a great deal of sadness. Many people wondered whether Elephant and Castle would lose part of its identity forever. But the shopping center wasn't the only thing that disappeared. Standing close to where we are walking now was the Highgate Estate. Completed in the 1970s, it was once home to more than 3,000 people. Like many post-war housing developments, it began with high hopes. Over time, however, the estate suffered from neglect, declining investment, and social challenges. And by the early 2000s, there was a decision that was made to demolish it as part of a wider regeneration program. Today, unless you knew the history, you'd never imagine such a huge housing estate once stood here. Instead, we are arriving at one of the symbols of the new Elephant and Castle, which is the Elephant Park. And I have to say, I think this is where the regeneration really comes alive. Instead of traffic dominating the landscape, you hear children playing, people sitting outside cafes, cyclists passing by, birds in the trees. There are water features, beautiful planting, wide pedestrian paths, and plenty of places simply to sit and enjoy the surroundings. It doesn't feel like a busy road junction anymore. It feels like a neighborhood. As we continue walking, have a look up at some of these buildings. They've completely changed the skyline. One of the first landmarks you'll notice is the Strata building. This is Strata SE1. When it was completed in 2010, it immediately became one of London's most recognizable residential towers. you can probably spot the 3 wind turbines built into the roof. Although they haven't always generated as much electricity as originally hoped, they have helped make Strata one of London's most distinctive skyscrapers. Love it or hate it, it's become part of Elephant and Castle's identity. And it's also a sign that the transformation of this area actually began long before the shopping centre came down. The skyline has been evolving for well over a decade. Looking around now, it's remarkable just how much has changed. It's easy to forget that this was once one of London's busiest and most traffic-dominated junctions. For me, one of the biggest successes isn't simply the architecture. It's that people now choose to spend time here. Children are in the park, friends are meeting for coffee, office workers are eating lunch outside. It feels alive. And that's exactly what good regeneration should achieve. Now, all this walking has given me an appetite. Luckily, one of the best food destinations in South London is only a couple of minutes away. Let's head over there now. Mercato Metropolitano. One of the things I love about walking around London is that every neighborhood has its own personality. And if Elephant Park represents the new green heart of Elephant and Castle, then Mercato Metropolitano is definitely its social heart. If you've never been here before, you are in for a treat. This is just another food hall. It's a place where people come to meet friends, spend an afternoon, watch live music, and of course enjoy some fantastic food. The moment you walk in, you will be greeted by the smell of freshly baked pizza, grilled meat, coffee, and spices from kitchens serving food from all over the world. Whether you're in the mood for authentic Italian pizza, handmade pasta, juicy burgers, tacos, Asian street food, or something sweet afterwards, you'll almost certainly find it here. What I particularly like is the atmosphere. Nobody seems to be in a rush, families are enjoying lunch, friends are catching up after work, students are sitting outside with laptops. It feels relaxed. And I think places like this are exactly what helped turn a regeneration project into a real neighborhood. Because regeneration is just about buildings. It's also about creating places where people actually want to spend time. But Mercato is one of Elephant's good food story. Let's head out and explore some of the restaurants that have made this area famous. Long before the new apartments buildings appeared, Elephant and Castle was already famous for something: its food. For decades, this has been the center of London's Latin American community. Families from Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Venezuela settled here, bringing their culture, music, and incredible food with them. Even today, that influence is impossible to miss. As you walk around, you'll hear Spanish being spoken almost as often as English. You'll see bakeries selling fresh empanadas, restaurants serving grilled meats, coffee shops filled with Colombian coffee, and supermarkets selling ingredients from across South America. It's one of the reasons Elephant and Castle has always felt different from anywhere else in London. Another area where it's worth visiting is Sayre Street. 10 years ago, this simply didn't exist in the form you see today. Now it's one of the liveliest streets in the neighborhood. Independent cafes spill out onto the pavement. People are sitting outside enjoying coffee. Cyclists glide past. You'll often find pop-up events and outdoor seating, giving the whole street a really relaxed feel. It's the sort of place where you come for lunch and somehow end up staying all afternoon. Walking through here really gives you a sense of how Elephant and Castle has changed. It's become somewhere people choose to visit rather than somewhere they simply pass through. As we continue our walk, you'll probably notice lots of young people around. That's because we're now entering another important part of the story. This is London South Bank University. Founded in 1892, it's one of London's largest universities and has educated generations of engineers, nurses, architects, business leaders, and scientists. Today, students from more than 130 countries study here. You can really feel that international atmosphere as you walk around the campus. Coffee shops are busy, the streets are lively. There's a constant energy created by thousands of students coming and going throughout the day. Universities don't just educate people, They shape neighborhoods, they support local businesses, they attract investment, and they help create communities. London South Bank University has done exactly that here in Elephant and Castle. And just a few minutes away is another institution that's helped transform the area. This is the London College of Communication, part of the University of the Arts, London. Students here study everything from photography and journalism to graphic design, filmmaking, animation, and media production. The Castle Centre. At first glance, it might just look like another leisure centre, but actually, I think it's one of the most important buildings in the old Regeneration. Inside, you'll find 2 swimming pools, sports halls, fitness studios, and a modern gym. Regeneration isn't just about impressive architecture, it's about improving everyday life. And the Castle Centre has an incentive where residents in the area can go to the gym Friday, Saturday, and Sundays for free. One of the things I enjoy about this area is that almost everything is within walking distance. We've explored the modern development, we've enjoyed the food, we've seen the universities. We're now heading to one of London's most important cultural attractions. It's only about a 10-minute walk from here, and you've never visited before, you're in for something rather special. The Imperial War Museum. The great thing about this museum is that it's completely free to visit, and even if military history isn't actually your thing, I still think you'll find something here that captures your attention. This museum isn't just about bottles or battles and weapons, it's about people, the lives that were changed by conflict, the sacrifices made by ordinary families, and the stories that shape the world we live in today. Inside, you'll find exhibitions covering the First and Second World Wars, the Holocaust galleries, modern conflicts, and fascinating displays of aircraft, tanks, and military vehicles. One thing I always appreciate is that the museum tells history through personal stories rather than just dates and statistics. It makes everything look real. You could easily spend half a day here. So if you're planning a visit to Elephant and Castle, I definitely recommend adding this to your itinerary. If you've walked through Elephant and Castle before, you've almost certainly seen this unusual stainless steel structure right in the middle of what we had the roundabout before. But did you know it's actually a memorial? This is the Michael Faraday Memorial, dedicated to one of Britain's greatest scientists. Faraday's discoveries in electricity and electromagnetism laid the foundations for so much of the technology we rely on today. Speaking of another hidden history, there's a fascinating place just a short walk away. One of the things I enjoy more about making these videos is discovering places that many Londoners don't even know exist. I'm now at the Cinema Museum, which is definitely one of those places that's hidden. From the outside, it doesn't look particularly remarkable, but step inside and you'll discover one of Britain's largest collections of cinema memorabilia. Old projectors, film posters, costumes, tickets, photographs. It's a wonderful celebration of the history of cinema. What makes it even more special is the building itself. This was a Victorian workhouse, and one of its most famous residents was a young Charlie Chaplin. Knowing that one of the greatest film stars of all time spent part of his childhood here gives the museum an added layer of history. It's one of Elephant and Castle's real hidden gems. Standing proudly at Elephant and Castle, the Metropolitan Tabernacle Church is one of London's most significant historic churches. Opened in 1861, it became world famous under the ministry of Charles Haddon Spurgeon, often called the Prince of Preachers. Thousands gathered here each week to hear his sermons, making this one of the largest and most influential churches of the Victorian era. Although the original building was severely damaged during the Second World War, it was faithfully restored and continues to serve as a place of Christian worship today. More than just an architectural landmark, the Metropolitan Tabernacle represents a rich legacy of faith, biblical teaching, and community outreach that has shaped the generations of believers in London and far beyond. As the area has transformed over the years, this church has remained a lasting symbol of hope, resilience, and enduring faith. There's one more thing worth mentioning here. Even with all the modern development, Elephant and Castle hasn't lost its traditional London pubs. This is another reminder that regeneration doesn't have to erase a neighborhood's character. Sometimes it simply gives old and new the chance to exist together. And I think Elephant and Castle has managed that remarkably well. So after spending the day exploring Elephant and Castle, what do I think? I think this is one of the most impressive regeneration projects anywhere in the city of London. Of course, change is never easy. Places evolve, communities grow, neighborhoods adapt, and it's important to remember the people and businesses that helped shape Elephant and Castle long before the new buildings arrived. By walking around today, it's hard not to be impressed by what's been achieved. The transport links are excellent, the public spaces are welcoming, the restaurants are some of the most diverse you'll find anywhere in London. You've got two major universities bringing energy and creativity to the area. Fantastic attractions like the Imperial War Museum and the Cinema Museum. The Castle Centre serving the local community. Elephant Park providing much needed green space. And throughout it all, the rich multicultural character that has always made Elephant and Castle special is still very much alive. For me, this isn't simply a regeneration project. It's the story of a neighborhood reinventing itself while continuing to celebrate the people who have made it what it is today. If you haven't been to Elephant and Castle for a while, I'll generally encourage you to come back, take a walk, have a coffee, visit a museum, try one of the fantastic restaurants, sit in the park for a while. I think you'll discover a part of London that's full of energy, history, and optimism for the future. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. If you do like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel so that you can see more of what we do. The shopping center is still yet to be opened, and it will be interesting to see the new shops that are coming to the town center. So I will definitely be following up with another video as soon as the shopping center or the new town center is open. Thank you very much.